And I don't care what they say about your gay blue bike. For the second perspective session, I had just the most profound meeting with our next presenter, Carlos Raimundo. Carlos is Argentinian. This sounds like a visit around the globe, doesn't it? I mean, seriously, we'd listen to the Irish if they had anything to say. Sorry, did I say that out loud again? So, you know, a medical doctor is our next presenter, and a psychiatrist who works in all kinds of fields, psychodrama being something he's done for many, many years. So, look up your children and your memories. His PhD, which he's completing, is in the area of 3D simulation, and I wanted to show you this because it's out there. But yet, when you see it, it's so elegant in its simplicity. So we've set up a camera, and Carlos, could I welcome you to stage for a minute? As you come forward, I want to tell people a little bit about you. He's an author. He works in leadership transformation by many of us, but he came to notice for me, in 2004 in New York, with a body of his colleagues and peers. Please join me on stage. He got the Innovators Award from the US group Psychodrama Association, which is no small feat. And when your peers acknowledge you, I think it's one of the greatest acknowledgements of all, because it says you've become a master in their minds. Ladies and gentlemen, could you welcome Dr. Carlos Raimundo? All right. I've always wanted to be like Andrew Denton.
Very good. You've been invited, I think.
And so I want people to tune into your voice and your accent for just a minute. So let's tell people where you're originally from in Argentina.
I was born in Buenos Aires, and I grew up in Cordoba, and then went back to Buenos Aires, and from Buenos Aires came to Australia.
Has anybody ever been to Buenos Aires? Yes. What do you think of Buenos Aires?
Awesome.
An Argentinian people?
Oh, yeah.
But would an Argentinian person go? If I said, Argentinian people, what do you think of Argentina? They would be full of life. I'm thinking there would be some drama.
I love the drama.
I think you love the drama. And
melodrama.
You like melodrama?
I don't like it, but I love Argentinian melodrama.
There's yes. I can imagine. Carlos, I was thinking that we want to talk a little bit about the brain, and I've heard so many people talk about the anatomy of the brain, but you have just an elegant way to explain the idea of cognitive bias. Could you just take a minute and, you know, if you're into it, that's cool, but if you've never heard about it, just check into this for a little bit, how the brain works, and Carlos kind of knows.
The brain is something that fascinated me for many, many years. And but lately I was looking more and more at the brain. That is the research I'm doing, and I found that the brain can lie. So this was the topic of many of my presentations. The brain can lie, and when we're talking about intuition, for example, so can we really trust intuition? And I said, I don't know, depends. Can we really try what I feel? Well, I don't know, depends. So when we find to that level, we find that the brain can really lie, and that is a little bit scary. And that happens because the brain needs to create a story, sometimes to cover other stories we have. With the ladies here, with the fantastic forum we have here, they were talking about the story behind the story. And this is exactly what happened in the brain. And we have experiences, people were saying, I was very happy, but it was underneath another story. It doesn't mean that the happiness was false. The happiness was there too, but it was also another story. So the brain, the neuroscience is showing that part of the emotions and the essence of reason in reason of memory, emotions and memory, is a story what is called the limbic system. And many people may have heard of that, especially from Goldman, where he started talking about emotional intelligence, and the amygdala was the biggest word that people start talking about. Well, this is part of the limbic system that resonates with emotions and makes me feel happy or sad. But it's not happy. It's happy means tells me when I am aligned with the principles of my life. It tells me that I'm satisfied in life. And when my life is outside that level, it tells me also that it's in that level. And that is through the creation of an internal hormone called dopamine. So when dopamine is high, I'm like this, dopamine is low, I feel miserable, to make it simple. So when I feel miserable, that information, and of course I'm talking colloquially here, when I feel miserable, that information goes to the brain stem, that is the reptilian brain, and the body aches. And this is the story.
So you've introduced the limbic system, which you're saying is emotional, and you're saying behind this...
Behind this, and older into the brain, is what is called the brain stem. That is called the reptilian brain too. That is the one that regulates the body function. So when somebody has a brain damage, and the person says the person is alive physically, what they're talking about is that there is no cognition, there is consciousness, but the person is, the body is kicking. So, just to make it simple, when I feel happy, let's come back again maybe to happiness first. When I feel happy, satisfied, my life is aligned, that information goes to that part of the brain, and the body is okay. Even people with heart problems or diabetes or whatever, with a little bit of diet or simple medication, they feel okay. And everybody knows that. Even people with asthma, when they're happy, they're okay. This information also goes to the cortex, to the neocortex. It's another part of the brain, the thinking part of the brain is more about. And the message is, I feel okay. So everything works well, happy.
So to understand this, you're saying you introduced the limbic system, which is about the emotional, the center. You've told me that the brainstem, which keeps me alive,
in the bottom,
is very much my fight or flight, my emergency response system, and that those two work very closely together to sort of keep a form of status quo in the body. But humans have this third part of the brain, the cognitive function.
The cognitive part, that is the cortex. In reality, the three works together, simultaneously. So when I'm happy, satisfied, everything flows, and it's okay. It's interesting because it's a Hebrew word that is called shalom, that we translated as peace. But in reality, it's not peace, it's at peace. So when I'm in that place, even though I'm maybe facing big problems, the brain tells me I'm okay, it is okay. It's okay, I mean, I'm in control, I can deal with life. So this is what we're talking about. When I live my life outside of these parameters, I'm outside of line, I'm not happy, and you know what I'm talking about, that information also goes to the brain stem, and this is the origin of what in medicine is called psychosomatic disorders.
Okay, that's a big word. So what you're saying is,
it's good, huh?
if it's impressive, I've got to say,
I don't know what it means, but
no, I would be dropping that whenever I could.
Yeah.
So, Carlos, what you're saying is, I love this, that shalom means at peace, and shalom, is that all good? We're good with that, to be at peace. Because you've spent a lifetime, your career has been about the elimination, I don't want to presume, but it seems to me it's the elimination of fear and the increasing of being at peace. Exactly. And the healthy functioning of these three elements of the human brain.
This is the essence. I think the essence for me, if I can put in short words, is how can we live in shalom? Yeah. No, not at peace, but not in peace, but at peace. How can I find that level? So when I feel bad, the body aches with these big words, psychosomatic disorder. But so you know what I'm talking about, the different aches that we don't know what they're
No, it's psychosomatic disorder. Is depression a psychosomatic disorder?
Depression is more a psychological effect of that. Psychosomatic is more where people have digestive problems or heart problems or muscular problems, and they don't know where it's coming from. Okay. That information also goes to the cortex. And the fascinating thing is that the cortex cannot handle uncertainty. So we cannot handle the I don't know. So I need to create a solution that I know. And to make this I know is where we create what is called a construct that blocks this negative information as a block, like this, and create a story.